So, I agreed to be a surrogate for my sister, but now I'm deeply regretting it because you will not believe the traditional way that they want me to do it. For most of my life, my sister Alice has been wanting kids, but has been unable to carry a baby to full term. In part due to endometriosis, she was in a lot of pain and had to have a hysterectomy. Alice and her husband Ben have fostered 5 children and have adopted 2 children with autism. And, well, they're great parents. They have a good home environment and are financially very well off. But recently, Ben, and after a while, Alice, was bitten by the urge to have a kid biologically related to them because they wanted a chance to, quote, do things right and provide the best start in life, their views not mine. So they asked me to be their traditional surrogate and said that they would cover all costs, legal, medical, etc. associated with it. They would also be paying off my student debt, renting a 2-bedroom apartment for 3 years, plus giving me a substantial amount of cash. I said sure. It'll be 9 months of my life in exchange for being set up for quite some time. And my immediate family thinks it's a great idea. However, when I said sure, I was expecting something along the lines of IUI, where we go to the doctor to get Ben's sperm prepped, me getting shots, etc. Basically, the whole artificial insemination package. But Alice and Ben have asked me to, well, get pregnant in the traditional way. Their rationale is that number 1, it's cheap. Number 2, they don't want to go to the hospital given the corona pandemic. And number 3, they think babies conceived naturally are healthier. The pregnancy would be safer without chemicals. But I just can't get over the extreme ick fear. And even if this was going to take place at home, I think a syringe would work fine. Am I going loony for thinking of going back on my word? Is their request reasonable? My immediate family does not see anything wrong with it and has been congratulating my sister on her impending baby. On the other hand, if I do give it up, I'm also mad for passing up what's essentially $200,000. In this economy? What's up guys, Mr. Reddito here. There's a couple updates for this story. The first update came out 5 days after the original post. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and here comes update number 1. All the comments on my previous post showed me that I'm way too young, dumb, and ignorant, which is what I signed up with. I started researching actual live experiences, and I've read so many horror stories that I've decided to not go ahead with being involved in any way, shape, or form with helping them have children. In fact, I'm not even sure if I want to ever get pregnant after all the stories about 3rd and 4th degree tears, poop, miscarriages. Ugh, I'm clearly not in the right stage of life or maturity to even consider doing something of this magnitude. The difficult part was mustering up the courage to call my sister to tell her my decision. I really look up to my sister and love her lots. And our family and religion has always been about helping others when we can. When I called her to tell her, we had a short convo at first where I basically said, "Sorry, I can't do that, but that doesn't mean I love you any less." She seemed sad, but said that she was happy to respect my decision, and I thought that was that. Then, last night, sister and brother-in-law called me back over Zoom. My sister was crying and begged to reconsider, as both of them really wanted bio children. Brother-in-law told me that they were really disappointed in me, and hoped that I would find it within me to do this. When I told them my concerns, my brother-in-law just said pregnancy and motherhood's a beautiful and natural process, and that I was made for it. I'm so glad I did this over video call instead of in person. Because, well, I just hung up on them and faked having connection problems. I've been ignoring their messages so far, and frankly, I don't know what else to say. Anyways, thank you all from the bottom of my heart for opening my eyes. What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito again. So the next update comes out 4 months after the original post. It's starting to heat up, and it looks like OP's decision is not going down well with brother-in-law. Alright, here's update number 2. Leaving for the airport in a few hours to move across the country, and I can't sleep. I plan to slowly phase out contact with my family and community, even though I love the people in there a lot. Long story short, I went over to Alice and Ben's house to visit their children in May. While there, they asked me in person to reconsider my decision. Sometime during this, Ben started kissing and groping me. I let him. I know typing this out makes me seem dumb for going over and weak, because, well, I was. But I just froze, and it was very difficult to say no in the moment, especially with my sister crying, and Ben having quite a presence in person. Trust me, I've replayed this scenario so many times in my head, wishing I was stronger in the moment. Luckily, that was the extent of it, and I was able to leave shortly after. Because, well, I don't know what I would have done otherwise. I also received a surprisingly no support from my parents or my bishop regarding my earlier decision. I did not tell anyone the recent event, though. I don't think they knew what Alice and Ben were asking me exactly, and I did not bring it up either. I was already sort of an outsider for not really conforming to the usual lifestyle of getting married with children, but this still shocked me. All these combined made me reevaluate my life. Working from home and having this much time alone has given me a lot of time to think about stuff. I fell down the rabbit hole of reading stories of people who also left the church life, and I want that life for me. So I've spent the last 3 months making arrangements, transferring to another part of my company, and well, today is the big day. I know it's not going to be easy. Pretending to be normal at the last Pioneer Day family gathering was the hardest thing I needed to do. But I did it for myself and for closure. But I'm going to get through this. Thank you for the advice and stay safe, everyone. Final update 1 year later. Well, my 1-year anniversary of leaving this mess here, that was my family, is coming up. Dusting this old account off to keep a log that maybe I can look back on. It's a beautiful sunny day here. Just feeling really grateful for life and all the opportunities I've had. Here's to the first year without them. So, all the comments are basically talking about this part. Ben started kissing and groping me. Okay. So almost everyone thinks that's sexual abuse, and I have to agree with them that this was totally over the line. I don't know, I need to hear it from you guys. What's your opinion on this story? Drop your thoughts down below. Was this abuse or not? Okay, we're going to look at our next story now, and the title is, Am I the A-hole? Flipping out on my fiance for canceling all the vegan food options from our wedding food menu behind my back. My fiance, 31 male, and I, 25 female, are getting married soon. There wasn't much that disagreed on during the wedding planning except for food. Me and my family are vegans, and there are so many reasons why we chose this lifestyle, and one of them being that we have a history of health issues. My fiancé and his family are completely the opposite. They're hardcore meat eaters, which is fine by me, obviously. However, when deciding on the wedding food menu, I wanted to add just 4 to 5 vegan options. My fiancé and his mother objected, saying it was a waste of money over food that isn't real. They also argued that this would be offensive for their guest and suggested my vegan options just be the good old salad and appetizers. His mom wanted cupcakes. I said no, because for one, it's me and my family who's paying, and 2, I want to make my guest feel welcome and not be treated as second-class citizens by being served salad. My fiancé made a face and said, "Oh, isn't that what vegans eat?" I refused to argue about it and said it was final.
The other day, I found out that he canceled all the vegan options and took them off the menu completely behind my back. I was seething. I called him at work, but he kept hanging up on me. I went straight to his workplace and confronted him there and just flipped out on him. He was so stunned to see me. He had first said it was his mom's idea, then told me to go home because I was making a scene at his work. The fight continued at home, and he defended himself by saying that I sort of made him resort to doing this after I kept brushing off his thoughts and input and refusing to accommodate his family. But there were plenty of meat options. Why can't I just get 4 to 5 vegan options when, I'm the one paying for it? He yelled that it was his wedding too, not my family's. My family said it was fine, they'll figure it out, and told me just to let it go. But I refused. Alright guys, this is a very interesting subject. Mr. Reddito here. Let me go ahead and jump into the first update because man, this is about to get messy. So, his mom messaged me earlier to try to get me to listen and what she had to say, after I kept ignoring her phone calls. She spent long walls of text just addressing what I did at her son's workplace, calling it all kinds of stuff from immature to unhinged. She then went to explain how she noticed that me and my family kept acting dismissive of her son's input and contributions. She said that she noticed my behavior towards him and her entire family, and wanted to speak up earlier but did not, and tried to keep the peace. She then went to address the food menu issue and denied her involvement in the cancellation of the vegan options. But that did not mean she does not support her son's decision. Moreover, she thought it was so responsible of him to make that move because of my continual refusal to see how this stuff's a waste of money. She also pointed out how I kept saying, quote, I paid for it, and said that technically this isn't just my money. It's mine and his, because we're getting married, and she suggested I wisen up and get rid of, quote, my money, I paid for it mentality. She finally mentioned how, quote, bad this whole situation's making me look, and said that she and her son had already offered a number of compromises that I chose to brush off, and decided to make it my, quote, weird hill to die on. She said that not only her son is upset, but she and the family are as well, after hearing about it, and suggested I just agree on their compromise and be done with it. Wow, this made me mad beyond belief. I responded by letting her know that I'm still standing my ground on this, even if I'll have to call the whole darn wedding off. Well, basically, I don't know, this is just ridiculous. My mom and dad, they don't even know what to say anymore. Apparently, my fiance saw my response to her and is now trying to call me, but I don't know, I'm just waiting on him to get home and see if he's still insisting on the stance he took. I'll update if there's anything worth adding. Final update. So, that talk did not go well. I waited for him to come home so we could have a final conversation about it, but he still insisted on his stance. For more details, his family are a bit on the heavy side. Most of them are obese. Nothing wrong with that, they're perfectly within their right to decide how to live life. But they get easily offended at the mention of words weight and food. I tried so hard to focus on the issue at hand, but I noticed there was a pattern of this behavior. He said it wasn't true and that it was just an attempt for me to throw past conflicts at him in order to win this current situation. He claimed he tried to reason with me about why and how his guest might see those vegan options as offensive. Also, said that his family loves food and consider it a big deal, and how he did not want his family to feel like there's a certain option that they could not touch, and feel that there's a difference in how I treat them versus how I treat my family. He then went on to explain how it's just an event, and how my family should accept what's on the menu, and if they felt inconvenience, so what? It's just a one-time thing. They're not gonna die if they had salad and appetizers. What he said wasn't good enough reason for me because his folks are gonna think and say what they want. But at the end of the day, it's my wedding. And to be honest, realizing that my partner himself thinks it's okay to steamroll my opinions and decisions simply because he's prioritizing others and their opinions over me was really upsetting and not something that can just be looked past. Normally, I'm a person of rational discussion and compromise. I'm all about compromises. I'd compromised on much bigger matters than just food, but like people said, it's not about the food anymore, if it ever was. Like, he'd literally lose nothing if he let me have what I wanted, but apparently, he was willing to lose it all over this, which is fine by me. I gave him back the ring and called everything off. I just could not envision myself living like this any longer. Having to walk on eggshells for his family and letting him basically override my opinions and have the final say no matter what. Marriage is about compromise, and here he has nothing to lose yet, just to choose to do this to me and my family. Mind you, this is my first serious relationship, and I did not know what to expect. But it's safe to say that he and his mom and family did make it feel like I was taking crazy pills on many occasions. So that's that. Last thing he said was that I chose my family over him and ended everything between us just for the sakes of, quote, keeping them happy. Decision's been made and it's done.
I'm just so glad OP decided to cut it off. Here's a comment. Good for you. Marriage is about a compromise, and it doesn't sound like your ex is interested in compromising or even letting you have a say in things. That isn't a partnership. Guys, I have to 100% agree, this boyfriend was exhibiting nothing but red flags. Let me know your thoughts of this story, drop it down in the comment section, or if you have a similar situation you would like to share. That's all the content for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Tune in tomorrow because there's going to be one wild story. I'll see you then.